So if you don't know anything else in life, you end up becoming a writer. Respectability meant only medicine and engineering. Time is finite and things are infinite. I'm not even a credit card person. I'm very old school. There's a sense of huge guilt that a lot of housewives have that हम पैसा नहीं कमाते, हमारे पास पैसा नहीं है.
You don't use credit cards or debt.
Yeah.
Which also talks a lot about a person's own psychology. So it's not necessarily just about money, but it may permeate to other things as well.
There are a lot of women who don't even know how to operate an ATM.
Hi, my name is Sarthak Ahuja. I'm a chartered accountant and an investment banker. And in this series, I'm having interesting conversations around money with 8 different personalities. Today, we have a wonderful lady who's actually had an illustrious career as a journalist with the Times of India, with the Hindustan Times, with Money Control, and several other houses of the country. In fact, she's been so persistent in her journey that when she took the One Finance MoneySign test, she ended up being a persistent horse. So, inviting Mrs. Namrata Kohli.
Thank you, Sarthak, for that wonderful introduction. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you. So, welcome to the program. I think the idea of today's conversation is just to understand your relationship with money, your perception towards money, how you experience it, how you enjoy it, how you save it, how you invest it. And I think before we get to that, it'll be interesting for us to know what's been your journey growing up in India. How did your background or your upbringing kind of shaped your perception towards money and wealth?
Okay. That's a very interesting question. Of course, the past is what lays the journey or the foundation for the present, and the kind of upbringing, the environmental influences is what eventually shapes us, anyone's perception about money. In my case, I've had a truly middle class upbringing where the focus was mostly on education and not really so much on money. Money was enough for everyone's need, but not for greed. That was really the scenario. There was one earning member earning a few thousands. This was pre-liberalization era, and not a few lakhs. And disposable income, luxury living. These were not the words that one was familiar with in one's childhood. Nevertheless, it was a very happy, content childhood. Replete with wonderful memories, because at the end of the day, true wealth is not about material possessions. It is mostly about experiences that you have, and to be able to have the freedom to do the things that you really want to do. My parents have always taught me one thing, that neki se naam kamao and naam se paisa aega. Chase goddess Saraswati and Lakshmi will follow. So it's always been a very interesting journey where accolades and achievements have always excited us much more than accumulating money. And money is of course very important, because as I grew up, I did realize that it's money all the way. The fact that we are having this intellectual conversation and we are waxing eloquent on the importance of money shows that we have probably enough money in our pockets. So, to have higher pursuits in life, to be able to go on that travel or holiday that one wants to go for, to chase certain passions and ambitions, you will need that money. But is money, while earning money, is there a price that you pay? Definitely you do, and that is your time. So as somebody rightly said, between time, money and quality, at a given point of time, you can have 2 variables, not everything. So this thing about money and financial independence, while on the face of it may look very exciting and very empowering, but it's not a I'll have it cake and eat it too kind of situation. There's a price you are paying. It's a journey wrought with discipline, with hard work, with sacrifice, because end of the day you are giving away your time. A lot of people who are working 9 to 9 these days, do they have me time? Do they have family time? Do they have the time to improve the quality of their lives 9 p.m. to 9 a.m.? These are the questions to be asked. So if somebody is earning a lot of money, often enough they don't have the time, the luxury of time to spend that money. It's their families who are spending. So I think I'm very lucky to say that 15 years I've had the wealth of time more than the wealth of wealth.
No, that's absolutely wonderful. In fact, I'd also want to understand what prompted you to get into journalism.
What prompted me into journalism was that since I was not typically a biology student or a computer science student, I figured out very early that I was probably more soft skills, more humanities kind of a mindset, but it was not a choice that my school offered at that point of time, and I didn't want to leave my school, so I hung on. I did my biology, I did the rat dissection, which I truly hated. I would not eat the meal the day I would dissect the rat. It was something I was not cut out for, but soon after school, I enrolled for English literature, and that is where I excelled, and I found my true calling. And it was very interesting to go through Chaucerian poetry and Mayor of Casterbridge, and all those kind of assessments of human beings, their personalities. That was something which was very, very close to my heart. And how did that journey begin? Well, I would again say it is the blessings of my elders in the family. My maternal grandfather, my Nanaji, he insisted that I participate in a certain essay writing competition. And that essay writing competition was on a very, very boring topic, environment and empowerment, environment and education. That was the topic of that particular essay writing competition. I wrote it, and I wrote it simply for his sake, because I wanted to please him, and I couldn't have said no to him. Little did I know that when the result would come, I would get an award from the then president of the country, Dr. Shankar Dayal Sharma. I had just changed my school, and on the public address system of that missionary school, there was an announcement that Namrata Tandon, and that was my maiden name, gets a prize, and she will be in this Talkotora Stadium. Dr. Shankar Dayal Sharma will hand over this prize on the International Literacy Day on 8th of September. So that was the turning point. It was the time when I realized that I had it in me, that I could write, I could express, and from there the journey started to write. And writing, like fitness, is a muscle that you flex. Like you go to the gym and you flex your muscles, you tone them up. So likewise, the more you write, the better you become at it, and there's really no shortcut. And I think that's when you get your creative juices flowing, you tone up your copy, read text, and become more and more good at it. So the journey really began with my Nanaji and his prompting me to write, and thereafter series of creative writing competitions, series of public speaking competitions. One thing led to the other. My life is a series of lucky accidents, but I think people who really stood by me was my family, and we were a nuclear setup. So I will give entire credit to my parents, my mother as well as my father, because they were the ones to always facilitate whatever their children wanted to do. So if my brother was deeply interested in technology, so be it. He was. It's not that a son of an IITian has to necessarily go to IIT, but it's something that he was interested in, and they allowed him to pursue his interest. It's something that I was interested in writing, and they were not frankly very sure as to what career it would lead to. But then they were okay with me pursuing my passion, figuring things out. They also helped me along. My mother used to drive me to 150 bylines that I earned for the Times of India. I used to write for Education Times, Sunday Review, and Saturday Times. She would drive me to virtually Green Park, Horse Cars, you name it, every destination, sit there till the time I would come back after that interview. So I think it's totally, the credit goes to my family for encouraging me all the way in a profession which was not conventionally accepted or was not thought of as a much paying or even a very respectable profession at that point of time, because respectability meant only medicine and engineering.
So tell me something. You've had an illustrious career working with several media houses, and at the same time you've also raised a family. So while you were working full time, do you feel that when men work full time and when women work full time, there is still so much of a difference in women balancing work and home in such a way that it changes their perception on how they spend the money available to them? And I would want you to give an example from your own life. Do you feel that your husband spends differently than you do, despite both people being earning and working professionals?
Yeah. So I'd like to clarify here that I started working full time. I was working very early on in my career full time, and for last 15 years I've been working out of home. So this huge thing about work out of home during pandemic, and it was a sort of a buzzword, is what I was living and breathing, and it was part of my lifestyle and being for 15 years. Until very recently, when I was offered this particular assignment, which I thought was a very compelling one, and it came at the right place at the right time. So the full-time job has actually happened in my 40s. So people do the other way around. They take a break, maybe in their middle ages. They work through their youth. In my case, I was probably destined to, or these are the choices, or my circumstances propelled me to work in a way that I was working out of home through these last 15-20 years, and it is only very recently in the last 8 months that I have started working full time. Now when you are working full time as a woman, there are certain unsaid rules. The family, the kitchen and the children will forever remain your responsibility, right? So that is like an added pressure sometimes, but if your partner is understanding, if your support system is good, if you have, I feel a full-time driver and a full-time maid is very, very big blessing to me, apart from my family, because they really are the man Fridays that I require everywhere. I cannot go physically, but then they do things when in my absence. And of course, the fact that technology allows you to stay connected with whomsoever that you want to at home also is a very empowering thing. Now, to be able to afford that technology, that tab, that gadget, you need money, right? So in that sense, it becomes important to me to invest in things which make my life more efficient, more functional, and more empowering. I don't like to spend money on things which are for flaunting or which are for show off. So for instance, if I need a car, I'm very happy with a Ertiga or a Innova or a whatever versus a big branded luxury car. And I would rather keep some service providers and invest on experiences, maybe fancy holidays once in a while, domestic travel, being able to take time off with a parent, sometime with child, or sometime a spouse, and take multiple holidays through the year. I think these are the things, spending on experiences. And my husband is an avid sports person. So apart from he's from IIM Calcutta, so he's obviously management person, but he's also very much into golf and tennis and swimming. So he likes to take these trips off with his golfer friends, with his tennis mates, and also take road trips. Like he's just back from Gangotri, Kedarnath. Recently the gates have just opened. So he has again his own passions, and he has his own things to invest on, experiences. So we are very alike in that we have we may not have exactly the same hobbies. I will always say he's into fitness, I'm into food, he's into sports, I'm into culture. But we like to spend not so much on material possessions, but the capacity that our money allows us to spend on our whims, fancies, quirks, on our experiences, on those adventures that we want to undertake. I think that is really what is financial empowerment according to us.
Yeah, so it's very interesting to hear about how you have different hobbies which prompt you to spend differently. But coming to the next bit, which is investments. So do you think both of you also invest differently basis what you like?
Yeah. So he's a lot into stock market, and he tracks it, and I think diligently twice a day at least he's to that busy business coverage and keeps reading about different companies. I'm totally the opposite. I'm not into stock market trading. At best, if the money in the bank crosses a certain number, then I like to just create a fixed deposit. I'm very conventional. I'm not even a credit card person. I'm very old school. I like to just not take loans and debts and carry them forward. I like to take whatever is there in my bank account, and I'm more a debit card person. He's a credit card person. Though he makes sure that the debt is not carried forward. So yeah, I mean that is how our investment behavior is very different. He likes to divide his portfolio into different assets, which is what a wise investor would do. And he's a number cruncher, finance professional, so of course his understanding of how to invest is way better than mine. Do I take advice from him? I don't. I most of the times I'm too lazy to invest, and I feel okay. It's being taken care of, and at best my investment is limited to fixed deposit FDs.
Sure. So just to reiterate, I'm hearing that you invest primarily into fixed deposits, and yourself and your learning, of course. You invest time in your family. You let all the monetary investment be taken care of by your partner, which is a choice because you want to divide roles accordingly, and you don't use credit cards or debt.
Yeah.
Which also talks a lot about a person's own psychology. So it's not necessarily just about money, but it may permeate to other things as well.
Yes.
So given that, do you think that also means that women choose not to enter into entrepreneurship because as a career choice between taking a job or being an entrepreneur, it's more risky? So if you're someone who prefers fixed deposits, someone who prefers not to take debt, that also means that you would probably not take up entrepreneurship ever?
Well, that's a very interesting question. Well, at one point I did dabble into it. I started a work out of home company called Talent Pool, and Goldman Sachs also sponsored my program at ISP. I did a executive MBA. It was a very compelling idea, and there were venture capitalists grooming me and all of that. It was mostly born out of the fact that I thought there should be a steady workflow for individuals like me. I'm able to sustain myself, but why not do something similar for a lot of other women? And so there were headhunters in my network, there were different people. But guess what? I did it so that there's flexibility, and I ended up realizing that entrepreneurship was a 24/7 job, and that's when I could not continue with it. So I'm saying that of course entrepreneurship is I don't think it is gender specific. It is gender agnostic, but it is more individual specific. If you are the one who's risk averse, if you are the one who values time over money, maybe it's not for you. But if you are the one who can, there was this recent tweet by a gentleman who spoke about 18 hours a day, investing 18 hours a day, and he was at the receiving end of a lot of flack of a lot of people. I thought he had a valid point. If you want to nurture a company, you have to be able to devote those man hours and trade that profit with that time of yours. So is that something more related with gender? I don't think so. It is more related with your personality, the kind of person you are, and what you are seeking out of life. And I would say that it's good to know what you are, who you are, where you want to be, and it's good to develop skills irrespective of the fact that you're a woman. You should know financially how to. There are a lot of women who don't even know how to operate an ATM, and this is the reality of our country. So many of the housewives, they wouldn't know how to operate that, or how to invest, where to invest. So there's no running away from the fact that I don't know enough. I don't know enough ways to diversify my portfolio, or likewise for a man not knowing how to cook his food. So these are not. It's not that you complete me and I complete you, and therefore I should not be learning those things which you have been traditionally doing, or I have been traditionally doing. Everybody should learn, raise the bar and break the glass ceiling, and and go and move beyond those traditionally set boundaries to the best of their capability. But at the end of the day, we are humans, and time is finite and things are infinite. So there's really this much that we can do, and that is where we have to nail down as to what is it that in these 24 hours I want to achieve. And with that clarity, I think if you have that clarity, I think you can the world is your oyster.
You mentioned that your husband is from IIM Calcutta, and he's also a financial consultant, and IIM Calcutta is known to produce the best financial brains in the country because the B school specializes in finance. And I think that way your children have probably found an expert at home who could educate them very well about finance, but not every child in the country would get that kind of free access. So do you have any suggestions on what kind of habits can parents inculcate in their children to actually educate them on finances in the right direction?
Yeah, I think that's a very important question, and it is true that in our situation, and like we have WhatsApp groups, we have a family WhatsApp group where all four of us are there, and he keeps putting out advisory for the children that this is how you must save, or this is how you must invest, or read up about this stock market investment and stuff like that, and tries to educate them. But by and large, parents are very clued in, and I would say that most of the children are getting that information from net. But the focus has to come from the family. The push or the motivation must come from the family, that very early on you must be able to save something, you must be able to invest something. I'll give you an example of the change makers network that we created during the pandemic. So during the pandemic, one thing which everybody had was time, and though you could not go outside, you could, that propelled you to go inside. So the inward journey, things which you have never explored so far. And one of the realms that we did explore was creating a network of like-minded parents and their children, and trying to educate them about different things. It could be ranging from topics about book reviews to spirituality to financial investment. And one of my dear friends, teacher at DPS RK economics teacher, I approached her to give some kind of a talk about how to invest early on, how to save early on, what does money mean to you, and stuff like that. And she agreed, and she did deliver a lecture, and it was so much of a hit between those 12-15 children that we invited her again another time. So that was an eye-opener, I felt, even for my children, because it was so there were certain things, there were certain ideas seeded in their brain which were never there in their head earlier, not from their parents, not from their teachers, not from their family. So I would say that in my case, because I'm not the expert on financial matters, definitely my husband is, but what I can do is put them in touch. As a journalist, I have access to the best finance professionals. I can bring them to these networks, and they can give the gyan. Definitely, I feel that the right kind of person should dissipate the right kind of knowledge. It cannot be a novice like me, or somebody who has neither made too much money nor has invested, that should be giving that kind of information to the children. So it's very easy these days to access information on the web, but I would advise parents to there's always like some number cruncher in the family, someone who's excellent with making money in the stock market, somebody who is a successful entrepreneur, somebody who has a knack for financial knowledge, and these are the people whom you can make your children chat with, or get them started with. But I think more than anything else, what I teach my children is invest on yourself. To be able to monetize any of your skills, first of all build those skills, become something, because it's very easy to be earning money at some point of time, but to be able to earn money doing something that you are passionately in love with, to be in love with your job, because frankly speaking, after a point you spend more time with your work than with your family. So if you have invested in yourself, if you are in the right space at the right time, and then you're constantly upskilling, which is again a very important term in today's ed tech parlance. If you're constantly reskilling, upskilling, I think your value will only increase. And I feel what I also tell my children is that beyond a point, money is just a number. So don't chase money, keep adding value to yourself, create value in society. So tomorrow when we leave the world, we should leave it a better place than what it was. And that's really the crux of my life.
Very well said. I feel, even money and the education for money is so vast and wide, where it's not just teaching children about financial products, it's about teaching and inculcating financial discipline,
Yes.
which comes with the right kind of parenting. And it's not just discipline in the financial aspect, it permeates to every other part of your life. It would be in studies, it would be in upskilling, and then of course has to permeate to financial discipline in some way. And then beyond that, I think it's also calling the right experts who have a holistic knowledge of it. A lot of so-called financial experts, and not to say that they're incorrect, but they also come with a lot of bias, where if they work in the mutual fund industry or if they work in the stock markets, they tend to have a bias to say that through numbers we can actually prove to you how investing in the stock market may be better than investing in gold or maybe investing in real estate. But just to be able to understand by the advisor that not everyone's risk appetite is the same. Not everyone's ambition is to get a certain percentage of compounded annual growth rate. Some people probably just want to preserve their wealth and not grow it at a 14, 15, 17% per annum.
Yeah.
So I think the right advisor's job is to first understand what you want, how you perceive risk in return, and then align all education around it. And thankfully, while there are a lot of actual educators who do it, I feel now with technology it's also possible for people to use the right tools to understand themselves well and then seek the right direction towards education. So it has to also come from within, that I want to be educated in this space. And one such tool, I know you took the One Finance MoneySign test, and so what they've really done is they actually tried to build a psychometric test through years of research, and figured that people have different personalities, and their personalities permeate to how they take decisions in their personal life, how they take decisions in their career, how they take decisions while dealing with other people, interpersonal communication, and also has a great bearing on how they take financial decisions in their life. And once through that psychometric test, if people can understand what kind of personality type they are, and they delve deeper into understanding themselves, it gives them insight on, okay, should I really be investing in a particular asset class or not? Even though it can give me higher return, maybe the volatility of that particular investment may give me more unrest than the joy of being able to make slightly more money over the long term.
Right.
And I feel this test is one attempt to, educate people in that direction. And I know you took the test, so we also have your results. And, your money sign is a persistent horse. So the strengths, the report tells me, is your discipline, is your ability to be patient, and your confidence in your own abilities. And I think I can now tie back these characteristic traits to the story that you've just narrated. Your weaknesses say that you could be rigid in your approach, and
Yes.
you're also quick to trust
Yes.
people.
Very true.
Yeah. Your likely financial habits could be being overexposed to familiar assets like real estate, gold, or fixed deposits, which again I can tie back to your answer, and having a preference for convenient, low risk, and popular instruments. Yeah. So the path to financial well-being for you, or certain suggestions as per the report, would be to diversify or improve your portfolio returns, and maybe also explore dabbling with financial leverage or taking loans to build high quality assets.
Wow, I
Yeah.
think that's a very nice advice, and it's very true that I don't look for big profits, and that's why I'm averse to risk and investment. I look for financial unbreakability, which is that stability. I like things as placid and as stable and as complacent as can be, but that definitely takes me away from, let's say, partaking of benefits of investing in certain instruments, which may create tremendous growth prospects. Thank you so much for that wonderful analysis, and
Yeah.
I will pay heed to the advice.
Thank you so much. And while Namrata found out that she's a persistent horse, and I had a lot of fun interacting with her, understanding her relationship with money and how she thinks about it, I would now urge you to find out your One Finance money sign.
Investment in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.